So just a quick little opinion here, and I had actually shared this on Facebook, and I actually got booted out of multiple groups over it. Um, but the carnivore diet and vegan diets. Now you would think that these are completely opposite, and in some ways they are. But in reality, they really actually have more in common than they have, apart. And I really think that people need to stop and look at this and see that both diets are high in nutrients. Um, in fact, if you look at beef is very high in nutrients. If you look at organ meats are very high in nutrients. And then there's no reason why you can't have fish. If you're on a zero carb diet, you can still have fish, which is extremely high in DHA if you have deep water fish like sardines. Um, Both diets remove things like, you're not eating junk food. You're not eating, you know, a lot of the crap that people are out there eating. You're not eating all the cookies and the ice cream, and you're not eating a lot of the junk food that people have become so accustomed to. You're not going to go to McDonald's and get your whatever it is, the Whopper. Yeah, the Big Mac is McDonald's. Burger King, Whopper. So Burger King's the Whopper. McDonald's is the Big Mac. Yeah, you're not getting those. Like, that's not part of your carnivore diet or your vegan diet. And a lot of people that go on vegan diets cut out things like soda or pop, depending on what part of the country you live in. So you're not drinking all these soft drinks that have a bunch of calories from high fructose corn syrup. I actually went really deep into the research on this, and unfortunately my post got deleted, so I can't just read it to you. But I pointed out lots of other things about it. Chlorophyll, which comes from plants, actually helps the body to deplete deuterium. And one of the interesting things about following a carnivore diet is that most of the foods are actually low in deuterium in the first place. And so whenever you look at that and you consider the fact that whenever you're burning fat, you create something called metabolic water. This actually removes even more deuterium from your system. There's a lot of health benefits that these have in common. And I've even pointed this out in the past whenever we look at ketogenic diets versus vegan diets, raw vegan diets, for cancer patients, and both diets seem to show some benefits. Well, it's probably because both diets are depleting deuterium from the tissues. And if you understand the role of deuterium in cancer, it makes perfect sense. If you don't understand the role of deuterium in cancer, just go to PubMed and just Google, or not Google, but it's the PubMed search. Just go to PubMed at the top that has a search bar, type in deuterium and cancer, and you will find like just more studies than you can ever even imagine. There's so much research on it. And so, these are some of the things that they have in common. And I think that people need to stop and realize that there is more in common than people give them credit for. They seem like they're diametrically opposed, I guess would be the word to say. And I guess, if you're doing them for moral reasons, then I guess it would be completely different. However, if you think about it from a scientific standpoint, the diets really actually have a lot in common, especially when you look at the micronutrient profiles. And so I don't know why people love to fight and argue. I think that that's really counterproductive. I don't care what your ideology is. I don't care if it's you're promoting a religion, or you're promoting feminism, or you're promoting veganism, or whatever it is that you're promoting. I think that whenever people choose to be hostile and aggressive and use an insulting rhetoric where they attack people, I think that that actually just serves to push people away. I don't think that that ever helps anyone. I don't think that if someone comes to you and tells you, oh, you're stupid and you're a bad person, that's going to make you very willing to consider their opinion. And so I think that if you want to start a dialogue between these two camps, you should talk about the similarities, and then maybe talk about, some of the small differences, because they actually are small differences, where one diet might have benefits over the other. And believe me, they go in both directions. You can't pretend like it's all in one direction. If we look at things like butyrate, the production of butyrate in the colon, there's certainly enough research out there suggesting that butyrate is preventative in colorectal cancer. We don't have any research looking at diets that have no carbohydrates in them, so it's possible and plausible that removing carbohydrates entirely might actually be beneficial, but we don't have any research, so you can't actually say anything definitive. Anyone who says something definitive is grasping at nothing. They're not even grasping at straws. There's literally no research out there on it. And so I think it's really important, though, like I said, to consider that these have similarities and people are controlling their portions. I mean, generally, it's the same stuff as any diet, actually. I don't care if you go paleo, zone, whatever it is. When you start paying attention to your portions, you start paying attention to what you eat, like inevitably, you start eating less and you start eating better. You start making better choices. And it really doesn't matter which diet you follow. But I just wanted to point out that the two diets actually have a lot in common, especially when you look at the micronutrient profile and then you consider the more important fact that no one's going to care about because most people just dismiss it, is the depletion of deuterium. And I know, as soon as someone brings up deuterium, people are like, oh, that's woo, because if I don't understand it, it must be woo. But deuterium is a real thing, and you can learn all about it. I encourage you, look at the research of Laszlo Boros. He's absolutely fantastic. He has multiple videos on YouTube where he explains everything from fumarate hydratase to deuterium depletion. So I really want to encourage you guys to go look at an expert, listen to him. He can explain it far better than I ever can. In fact, he's the one that explained it to me in the first place. I contacted him on Facebook and just started asking him questions, and he was kind enough to explain every question I had. He answered it. And that has nothing to do with even what diet you're following. I mean, you can deplete deuterium with water. You just get deuterium depleted water, and as you drink that, it actually draws the deuterium out of your system. So there's a lot more to it than people give it credit for. I have no idea why so many people are opposed to it. It seems very popular in the paleo community to dismiss it, and I really can't understand why that is. Anyways, I'm off a tangent just because that's something that bothers me, but the point is, these diets have a lot in common, actually. And so even though it seems like they're complete opposites, they have a lot in common.